All right, everyone. So today I wanted to share with you guys a new simple strategy that is going to save you millions of silver upgrading your artifacts. And this is going to be extremely useful at a time like right now because we do have an artifact enhancement event that just popped up. And it seems like these have been showing up more and more frequently. These are the more typical ones, the 5,500 point ones. I know there's another one that I think is 3,500 points, but I've only seen that one a couple of times. And 5,500 points is definitely a decent amount. You're still looking at many, many millions of silver, even if you upgrade, high star level artifacts in order to complete these events. And I know that can be very difficult in order to achieve, especially if you are free to play. But hopefully this strategy is going to make it a lot easier. And even if there's not an artifact enhancement event going on, this is going to save you an incredible amount of silver upgrading your artifacts from plus 12 to plus 16. Now, these are the levels that I really wanted to focus on because not only are these going to be the most valuable levels for the actual artifact enhancement event, you guys can see the amount of points that you get at that plus 16 upgrade is absolutely astronomical compared to even all the points added up from 4, 8, and 12. You're looking at, for 5-star artifacts, 2, 5, and 40 for 4, 8, and 12, and then 16 just by itself gives you 270. So it's a very important step. It's also going to be the longest step that you spend on your artifacts, the most amount of failures, and of course, the most amount of silver is going to go into your artifacts, going up from plus 12 to plus 16 as well. So good news is you are just going to be upgrading your artifacts like normal from plus 0 to plus 12. I honestly feel even the crazy strategies that I talked about a week or so ago, it's just not really worth the time for most people to go through that amount of effort until you start to get to those levels that are a lot slower, a lot more RNG, and of course require a lot more silver. So you are going to upgrade artifacts normally to plus 12, but now what you're going to do at plus 12 is a little bit different. Now, this is a more simple strategy. It only involves one artifact, but we're still going to use that same system that we talked about from a week or so ago. So if you guys have not seen these videos, definitely worth a little bit of a refresher. There's a system in place where you can actually tell the amount of upgrade attempts that it's going to take to get to the next level without actually having to burn through the silver in order to get there. I'm not going to go into extreme detail exactly how this works because I already have a couple of videos from a week or so where I get into it, but this is going to be a lot simpler than the exact strategies that I used in those two videos. We're only going to use one artifact. We're not going to be hopping back and forth. We're not going to be doing any crazy stuff between 5-star and 6-star artifacts. It's going to be much more simple. So what we are going to do is once we upgrade an artifact to plus 12, just like we normally do, no crazy systems involved, we're then going to upgrade it to plus 13. And plus 13 is kind of a keystone level. Now at plus 13, we are done upgrading it normally. Now we actually have to do something a little bit particular. And this involves both the upgrade automatically system here, just by one level, not up to plus 16, just this one right here. And it's also going to involve the manual system right here. So when we get an artifact up to plus 13, we're going to do a check here. And we're actually going to use that crazy system discovered about a week or so to see how many upgrade attempts it's going to take us to get from plus 13 to plus 14. So what you do is you are just going to disconnect your connection if you are on Wi-Fi, airplane mode if you are on mobile. It does work both on mobile, it works on BlueStacks, it works on Plarium Play, and we're just going to disconnect it before we actually press this upgrade 1 level button. And what that is going to do is it's going to allow us to see how many attempts it's going to take without actually upgrading the artifact or burning through the silver, because of course we don't have an active connection. Now, what we are doing here is we are going to make a judgment. We're going to decide to ourselves, do I like this number or do I not like this number? And of course, the numbers that we're going to like here are going to be smaller numbers. Like if it does not take a lot of attempts to upgrade the artifact, that's good. And I'm going to explain what to do next. If we don't like it, if it's a really high number, if we're really unlucky and we know it's going to take, 15, 17 attempts or something ridiculous like that in order to get from plus 13 to plus 14, then we're going to go down a different road. But let me show you guys the road first where if we like that number. All right, so what we're going to do here is we're going to disconnect. All right, there we go. My internet is now disconnected, and we're going to press the upgrade 1 level button, and we're going to count here. So we got 1, we have 2, okay, and we have 3 here. So this is a fantastic number, and you guys will see why in a second here. This works very, very well for this artifact because we have a 6-star legendary it's going to be very expensive. But because we have a really good number here, we are going to save a lot of silver upgrading this artifact. Now, what we are going to do is we are not going to upgrade it. We're not going to reconnect. We're just going to restart the game here. So let me just close out. And now that the game is closed, I'm going to reconnect my internet, of course. And I'm going to reload raid. Because we didn't have a connection, of course, we didn't upgrade anything. We didn't go through any silver. Even though you guys saw visually my amount of silver might have gone down, there was no active connection. So you'll see that that silver is returned because it didn't actually get used. Our artifact was not upgraded, of course, but we now know that that magical number is 3 for that shield. Now what we're actually going to do is we're going to save that 3 upgrade attempts. We're not going to use it from plus 13 to plus 14 because that would be a bit of a waste right now. What we actually want to do is we want to save that for plus 15 to plus 16 because that's typically the most difficult level in order to upgrade your artifacts. It's going to be the most expensive one. It's going to be the one that typically has the lowest chance. And now that we know that we have a really good number from plus 13 to plus 14, we could actually save that for plus 15 to plus 16 and save ourselves a lot of silver there. So we're going to go back to the speed artifacts. We're going to go back to the shield right here, this plus 13 shield. And now that we know that we have a plus 3 to plus 4, it's kind of like saved. We're still going to be able to use that, but we're going to use it for 15 to 16. And we're going to go to upgrading with the yellow button for plus 13 to plus 14 and plus 14 to plus 15. Now, this is completely RNG. So we could get lucky here. We could get unlucky here. There's no way of actually knowing how many attempts it's going to take using this yellow button here because it requires an active connection to the server every single time that you actually click this. With the upgrade 1 level, it doesn't. It only requires that connection when it actually upgrades the artifact, which is why you are able to tell how many attempts it's going to take to get to the next level. But we want to save the automatic level here of 3 attempts for 15 to 16, and we're just going to go with pure RNG and upgrade this way from 13 to 14 and 14 to 15. So we got really lucky there. 1 attempt. Okay, so now let's see. Let's do 14 to 15. And who knows? It's 100% RNG right now. I really have no clue how many attempts this is going to take. We're at 3 so far. All right. But the important thing is we have a really easy level locked up. So we know 15 to 16 is going to be really, really easy regardless of the other 2 levels. We saved our really good level that we knew from 13 to 14, and we're deciding to push it forward from 15 to 16, because this is typically where you're going to spend the most silver, the most number of attempts. It's obviously the most frustrating level. Anybody who's upgraded a lot of artifacts knows how annoying it is to go from 15 to 16, and you can easily burn through 500,000 silver, especially on 6-star, legendary artifacts like we have right here. But we have it locked up. We know, because we tested it from 13 to 14, that it took 3 attempts. It's still going to take 3 attempts because we were not using the automatic system. We were using the manual system, and they are separate. The manual system is pure RNG. It does not interfere with the automatic system. We still have that 3 attempts locked up here. So now we know that it's guaranteed to get from 15 to 16 in 3 attempts. So here we go. We're going to press this here. 1, 2, and it's going to upgrade here. There we go. So now we have ourselves that maxed out artifact. We were able to save quite a bit of silver in that process from plus 12 to plus 16 by taking that 13 to 14 level that we knew was easy and saving it and pushing it forward to plus 15 and plus 16. And if you do this for all the artifacts that you are working on, over the long term, you are going to save a lot of silver, especially at times like this when we have artifact enhancement events, and it can be very, very costly in order to get these events done. Again, especially if you're free to play or you just don't really do a whole lot of grinding. So that's one road right there. So now you guys know what to do if you got a good number, right? So from 13 to 14, we got a good number of 3, but a lot of the times you're not going to get a good number. You're going to get something that you're not happy with, like, 12 attempts, 15 attempts, 18 attempts. Like, what happens if you end up getting one of those numbers? Well, you actually have a couple of different options. What you can do at that point is you can just go with it and upgrade from 13 to 14 using the large number of attempts, and it's going to reset. Once you use the automatic system here, it's going to reset that number. that's why we went and we switched over to the manual system here using the orange button, is because it does not interfere with the automatic system. But if we upgraded using the automatic system, it resets that number, and at that point you can see how many attempts it's going to take now from 14 to 15. And if you have a good number, then go back to the manual system here, upgrade it from 14 to 15, and then save that good number for 15 to 16. So that's one road that you can go down. The other road that you can go down is you can do what I did in the video from a week or so ago, and you can start working on similar artifacts. They don't have to be the exact star level, they just have to be similar. And then kind of go back to that artifact that was at plus 13 and test it again and see if it's changed. Because artifacts are categorized into groups. Each artifact is not individual, they are part of various groups or buckets. And if you work on an artifact that is in the same group or bucket, then it's going to all use the same number of attempts, and you can reset it on the main artifact that you are working on. Now, that's a little bit complicated, and I get into more detail in that video from a week or so ago, but that's another option that you can go down. So there's plenty of things to do, even if you do get a number that you are not happy with. But over the long term, this is absolutely going to save you a good amount of silver. So, I highly recommend going with something like this, especially if you guys don't see yourself with a large silver reserve and you're looking to capitalize on upgrading artifacts cheaply, but also getting through these bombardment of artifact enhancement events that we have been getting more and more frequently as of late. So this is just another strategy. There are several other ones as well. You guys know I've been doing quite a bit of testing with this over the last couple of weeks or so, and of course, as I find out more information about this, I will always be happy to let you guys know as soon as possible. But I wanted to introduce this system because this one really primarily only focuses on one artifact most of the time, and I think it's going to be a little bit more of a simple system than the ones that I introduced from a week or so ago. It also works really well that we have that artifact enhancement event going at the same time. So that's going to be it though for today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and that it did help out, and hoping that you could save a good amount of silver during the artifact enhancement event. So if you guys did enjoy and you want more videos like this in the future, consider subscribing to the channel. Thank you very much for all the support, everyone. Really do appreciate it. If you want to leave a like, it helps out more than you can imagine as well. So thank you very much to all of you guys who do that. And more Raid Shadow Legends videos should be popping up on the screen right about now. Feel free to check them out. Once again, if you guys feel like you might have been a little bit confused, if you haven't seen these videos from a week ago, I highly recommend that you check them out because I go into much more detail on this crazy artifact discovery that I used for the demonstration in today's video. But that's going to be it for today. Have a great day, everyone. Take care, and until next time, this is Salt of the Salty Guild, signing out.